Hey everybody, I'm Corinne Blackstone and welcome to my craft room. Before we get started, be sure to check the link down in the description to join my Facebook group. You can post all your fun projects and questions there. We have a good time, so be sure to join. Today's video is going to be all about how to make these really fun bookmarks using faux leather. I got my faux leather from Faux Leather for You. I will link them down below. They have so many different styles and colors. You can find something for everybody on your list or just yourself. They've got Santas, they have glittery rainbow colors, they have Halloween, they have some that are snarky. This one has some swear words. They've got these really cool embossed, holographic, and just so many other options that you can find something for everybody. And they're really well priced. Shipping is super fast and it's run by a small business, so it's always a good thing in my book to help support other small businesses. I am absolutely in love with this one. It is gold and black and I just love it. I think it's so pretty, but there are just so many different styles. Now today's video is going to show you how to make that bookmark, and we're going to use some HTV on it, and I'm going to show you how to make this fun tassel to go with it as well. These make great gifts for any occasion. Teachers, anything like that will love these little homemade bookmarks, and I cannot wait to show you how easy this is to do. So let's get started. We're going to create our bookmark here in Cricut Designs Space. This is really fun and really easy, so just follow along and I know you guys can do this. The first thing that we're going to do is go into our shapes and select a square. Now I looked up the general size for a bookmark because I wasn't really sure which size I wanted to do, or really how big bookmarks necessarily are. So the general size for a bookmark is 2 to 6 inches, so it's going to be 2 inches wide and 6 inches long. So what I'm going to do is I'm first going to unlock my square using this little lock button down here in the bottom. Now I want rounded corners on this, so I'm going to show you an easy way to make rounded corners. I'm actually going to make my width 1.5 inches and I'm going to make my height 5.5 inches. Then all we're simply going to do is create an offset. You don't really have to do anything because this is going to make it the right size. Make sure that you have the rounded corners selected and make sure that this is 0.25. Then click apply. Now you can get rid of the square that we used as our little template and you'll see that you have a 2-inch by 6-inch rectangle. Really simple. The next thing that we're going to do is create the hole for our tassel or for our charm. I love having a little charm on my bookmarks. It's just an extra little cute thing that you can add, but you can absolutely just cut a plain bookmark if you want to. So what I'm going to do is open up a shape and use a circle. Now shapes has been a little bit slow today, so if it's going to be slow for you, just give it a minute and it'll open a shape. I don't really pick a size for these, like I have no specific size. I just kind of find a size and what looks good on the bookmark itself. Usually a little under 1/2 inch is great. Then what I want to do is select my bookmark and my circle, and I'm going to go to align and I just want to center them horizontally. That's going to allow that circle to be centered on our bookmark and it will look really nice. Now there's 2 options for how you can cut out your circle. You can either simply attach them, which will allow the circle to cut out. You can also use slice, and that's going to slice out your circle. But remember, you can only slice 2 things at once, so if you have more than 2 things selected, it won't work. I just moved my bookmark over and I can delete my dots. I don't need those for any reason. Now we're going to load in my tassels that we're going to use, and we're just going to click upload. Now I have uploaded them already, but I'll show you guys really quick how to upload. Go ahead and click upload image and then browse. You're going to find where you saved the image that you're going to use. So I saved mine into my faux leather folder, and then it's the tassel keychains. I'm going to use the SVG version, and you'll see here that we have this SVG all ready to go. Just click upload. Now it might take a second because this one is a little bit big, but then select your image and click add to canvas. Once you've done that, you'll see that you're going to get a lot of pieces. Now they're black, so it is a little bit hard to see them. So if you'd like to see them a little bit better, what I like to do is I'm just going to change the color to something bright, and that allows you to see the lines a little bit better to see how big your tassel is going to be. Now with this one, there's a lot of options, so I am going to ungroup this really quick, and we're going to get rid of some of the ones that are too big. This set here is huge. It's way, way too big. This set is too big as well, so we're going to go ahead and get rid of this one. And I think this one's a little bit big as well, so let's go ahead and get rid of that. I didn't like this one when I cut it. It was a little too small, so we'll get rid of that. And then this one was just a smidge too big as well, so we'll delete that one. This one is just about the right size, so we're going to go ahead and use this. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click attach just to reattach them so that they don't come apart, because we do want this little piece and all of this just to be as one. Now you can cut this on a different color faux leather if you want the tassel to be a different color, or if you want it to be the same color, just simply change the color of the bookmark to purple or the color of the tassels to black. It's really up to you how you want to do it. There's no right or wrong way, and you can actually resize your tassel a little bit if you so desire. I'm going to go ahead and leave it like this, but I am going to turn it. The reason I'm turning it is because it actually is going to take up a little bit less room on our design. And what you can simply do is once you've kind of got this where you want it, it's not exactly straight. I never get these quite straight, but that's okay. That looks pretty good. So let's say we wanted to cut just like this on our mat. Just select the entire design and just click attach. What that's going to do is when you click make it, it's going to keep everything in the same general vicinity. So the next thing I want to do is I'm going to do some HTV on these. So I'm going to add some text. So the first text I'm going to add is a name. And you can add whatever text you want. You can make a little saying. It's up to you. I'm just going to do a name, and I'm just going to pick kind of a cute font. Really, you can do whatever you want. It's really up to you and how you want your design to look. Now I'm going to turn this sideways so that I can see this better and see how it's going to fit onto my bookmark. Now I am going to make this for my mom, but I thought I'd use her actual name instead of mom. I feel like as you get older, the mom thing, you can call them by their name if you're making them something. It's really up to you. So I think that looks pretty good. I don't want it to cover up the whole design, but I do want it to cover up some of it. That looks really good. Now remember with HTV, you do need to mirror it. So I'm going to go ahead and click flip, and I'm going to flip it horizontally. That is going to mirror my image. So now my name is backwards. The next thing that I want to do is I'm actually going to duplicate the bookmark. So what I can do is just select the bookmark over in my layers tab and click duplicate. We're going to cut this out of HTV as well. So I'm just going to make this the same color as the Wanda here. So I'm just going to select my bookmark and choose that color. Now you don't need to do any mirroring to the bookmark, but we're going to put HTV on the back of it just so it looks really nice and finished. Now for this, you can use any colors that you want, any kind of HTV that you want, whatever really makes you happy and makes your life happy. So if you know somebody likes a specific color, you can absolutely use that. So now all we need to do is click make it. I am using the Maker 3, so it's going to ask me whether I want to cut on matte. I do because I'm not using Cricut Smart Materials, so go ahead and click done. It's going to cut our HTV first, which we're just going to cut on everyday iron-on or whatever type of HTV you want to use. I think what I'm going to do is use some glitter. So this is actually cut on the glitter iron-on setting. So I'm going to go ahead and use glitter for this. Now, when you go to cut your faux leather, so we'll pretend like we're cutting that first, click continue, and we're going to need to select a good cut setting for this. I highly recommend doing some test cuts before you get started, but for me, I find that the metallic leather setting works beautifully for my machine on the regular deep point blade. It works beautifully. It is super easy to cut my material using this setting, but again, please do some test cuts because it is going to make a difference depending on what kind of leather you're using, depending on your machine. So I highly recommend cut out some stars. That's a perfect little shape to use to learn what cut settings work best for your machine. So let's head over to the machine and we'll get this cut out. I'll show you guys how to press your HTV and set up your bookmark, and we'll have this beautiful bookmark. I decided to use some Caesar Twinkle. This is a really pretty HTV. It's glittery, it's super sparkly as you can see, but what I love is that it's smooth instead of rough like regular Caesar glitter. This does still cut on the glitter iron-on setting, so it's really easy to work with. You want to make sure to put it glitter side down and then press it down to your mat. I'll go ahead and pull the machine down a little bit so that you guys can see it. And we're going to just load our mat. I've got my blade in. I'm just using my regular fine point blade. We'll switch out our blade when we're done cutting out the Caesar Twinkle. Then I have my faux leather that I'm going to use right here and some scissors. So let's go ahead and let this cut out, and then we'll come back and cut out our faux leather. So for this one, we are going to be using a pink mat, which is a fabric mat. I'll move that out of the way so you can see a little bit better. So what I'm going to do is I actually will put it in whichever corner is the most sticky. So this is the most sticky corner right now. And because I want to make sure that this doesn't shift or move at all, I'm going to tape it down with some painter's tape. Just on the top and side edges. Those are the parts that tend to lift a little bit. So I'm just going to use a little bit of tape. I don't put it too far down onto my faux leather. I just put it down a little bit and just get that edge just to hold it down. It's never going to cut on this edge, so don't worry too much about that. But we're just going to press that down, and that way it doesn't pop off. And then you can either rip this so that it's not sticking over the edge, or you can just fold it over. It's up to you. Now, we do need to use our deep point blade for this, so we're going to need to load that into the machine before we do anything else. Go ahead and open clamp B and take out your fine point blade. And what you're going to do is switch that out for the black tip blade with the black housing. That's your deep point. And now you can load your machine. So I'm going to go ahead and load this in. Now, I will say I have done this with my regular fine point blade, and it did cut fine. So if you don't have the deep cut, it doesn't know the difference. So it's still going to go ahead and cut fine, but I will put the deep point blade in since I do have it. But like I said, you can use the regular. So we'll let this cut out. This is going to take a little bit longer to cut out. While that's doing that, I'm going to go ahead and weed our glitter vinyl, and then we'll get everything assembled. Once it's done, go ahead and unload, and we can pull this off of our mat. Now, one thing I love about the faux leather is that it doesn't really bend, so you can just kind of pull it off the mat really easily, and then you can take your painter's tape off anytime. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this off. You'll see the little circle pops out, and then this is our tassel, and then we have the little part that goes around our tassel. So that is all ready. I'm going to go ahead and get the mini heat press all set, because we're going to use the Cricut mini press to do this. So we're ready to press the HTV. I'm going to start with the one on the back. Now I do have some parchment paper down just to protect my surfaces. Since this is almost an exact fit, we're going to be real careful not to accidentally press this onto something else, because you'll see that it's an exact fit. You could make this just a teeny tiny bit smaller if you wanted to, but I didn't want to. So getting it to sit on here right is not always super easy. So sometimes it's easier to do it from the faux leather side and then get everything lined up and then flip it over, but it's really up to you and which way works best for you. So I'm going to just go ahead and get this as neat as I can. That looks pretty good. We're going to be really careful. I'm just going to press this right here for just a moment, really quick. I'm going to just press it just to hold it down because I don't want it to move. So I'm just pressing the ends really fast, just so that it'll kind of tack it down. Then what I'm going to do is fold my parchment paper over, and we'll actually really press it now. But I wanted to make sure that that would hold it down for just a few moments. So I'm just using my Cricut Easy Press Mini, and this is a really simple product to use. You can use this for all sorts of things, but I love using it for faux leather because I find that it really works beautifully. I've done my heat press too, but sometimes like little things like this that you just want to press quickly, just using your little mini press will work great. So I'm just kind of moving my mini press. You can move it around a little bit if you need to. And then I'm just kind of giving it a little bit of pressure. I'm not pressing, with all my weight or anything. Just a bit of pressure will do. And I do have this on a pressing pillow just to protect my surface. I like to keep everything on a pressing pillow just so that my surface that I'm pressing on is protected. All right, that should be good. So what I'm going to do is peel off my carrier sheet. So we're just going to very carefully peel it off. It's pretty warm, so you'll want to kind of go slow. And I'm going to give this another quick little press just to be safe, because like I said, pressing with the mini press, it is a little bit different. So I'm just going to give this a little press because the corner up here didn't stick fully. So I'm just going to go ahead and go back through it. Again, make sure you do have parchment paper over this to protect it. You don't want it to touch your actual hot surface. That can damage your press. So you can see I'm just kind of moving down, giving it a few seconds, Again, I'm not doing a ton of pressure. This is a pretty easy thing to do. Okay, that should be good. We should be well stuck down. Oh yeah, that's much better. We are really well stuck down. Perfect. Now what I'm going to do is take my front one, and this is going to be our name. So you can put it whichever way you want it to go. I think I'm going to go with this direction. I think that looks good. And what I'm going to do is, again, fold my parchment paper over and then just press. So I'm going to give this just a couple seconds. Just a few seconds on each section. You don't have to go too crazy with the pressure. Just press it down. And press it down. And then I'm going to come back through, just do another set of presses, and we should be good to go. That's one thing that I really like about HTV and most faux leather. It's really very easy to work with. So we'll go ahead and peel this off. And now you have this really pretty, sparkly bookmark. So now what we're going to do is put together our tassel. So we'll need to get a little bit of glue, and I'm going to go ahead and turn my mini press off. I'm going to let that cool down over on the corner, and then let's go ahead and we're going to build our tassel. So we're ready to do the tassel. So you'll need the two parts. You're going to need this little collar part and then the part that's all kind of cut up like this. I recommend using some tweezers. These are just the Kappa ones, but they work great for this. You'll want to start your roll. So if you've ever done paper flowers, this is kind of a similar idea. Grab the end of your tassel. So you want to grab as close to this end as you can get, and then you're just going to roll the tassel just like you would a paper flower. So you're going to try to keep the top of this as even as you can the whole way through. And you can see I'm just rolling the tweezers. I'm not actually rolling the tassel. I find this to be a lot easier. And then I'm just keeping my hand here to help it stay straight and also to keep it nice and tight. Now, one thing that I like to do is I'm going to add a little bit of glue right in this section right here. Not a thick piece, just a little dab will do. That just is going to help it hold together as we continue to roll. It's going to just add that little bit of stability, which I like to have when I do these because they can be a little bit thick and heavy. So don't drop your tweezers like I just did because it can unravel. So I'm just going to keep it really, really tight. And again, I'm going to add just a little bit of glue right here to this portion as well. I'm just using my little Ryobi glue gun. This is like the mini one. Love it. It's great. If you want it, I'll link it down below. It is my favorite. I've been using it a lot lately for a lot of these smaller projects, and it's perfect for them. So again, just keep rolling. And like I said, keep the top as even as you possibly can. Now that you've made it to the end, you're going to put a little bit more glue. I do like a little dab, and then I sort of spread it out. And you want to make sure you get all the way to the edge. So once we've got that, we're going to go ahead and finish the roll. You guys see I'm just rolling it. I'm going to hold this down for just a moment, and then you can wiggle out your tweezers. So now that this is all held together, you've got this nice roll. This is actually going to be the loop to hold this on to our bookmark. Now you can make this a little bit shorter if you want to. It's really up to you how big you want to make it. I'm going to trim the end off just a little bit because it's a little bit long for a bookmark in my opinion, because I just want a small loop. So see, I made my loop a lot smaller than it was. All you're going to do is same idea, dab a little bit of hot melt glue right here. And again, I flatten it out, and then you're just going to push it over and hold it down. Just be careful because, of course, hot melt glue is hot. Hold that down for just a few moments. It should dry pretty quickly. And then simply take the collar. So this is your collar. It's going to go around. It's going to give it that finished look. And you're just going to kind of wrap it around. Now, again, you can trim this down if you so desire to. I'm not going to, but you absolutely can. I like to try to make sure that where it's doubled up, because you are going to have a spot where it does overlap itself, isn't over the part here where you have the little hook, because it can make it a little bit thick. So what I'm going to do is, again, I like to just put a little bit of hot melt glue. I'm going to put it right here in the middle, and I'm just going to spread it out a little bit. Be careful. Don't want to get it on your hand. Spread it out just a little bit. You can let this sit and dry for just a moment. And then all I'm going to do is line this up so it's nice and straight with my tassel. And then I'm just going to fold it over a little bit. And again, I'm just going to hold it. This is all just kind of how I like to do it. You'll find what works best for you and the way you like to do things as you kind of make these. So then all I'm going to do is just a little bit of hot melt glue again right here on this end. Again, making sure I get all the way to the edge. I'm going to pull that over, making sure to keep it straight on the top and hold it down for just a few moments. Then I'm going to come through and do this side here. And we're just going to do the same thing, a little bit of glue. I just put a little bit down and then I just sort of use the tip of my glue gun to kind of move it around and make it a little bit flatter. And then all I'm going to do is roll it to the other side of our tassel. All the way down. Again, trying to keep it as straight as I can. And then just hold that down for just another moment or two. Now this will calm down a little bit as far as like, see how it's kind of all fluffed out. This will straighten out as it kind of sits. So don't worry about that too much. It will kind of calm itself down. It's just like that because it's used to being flat. Then we're just going to get a little bit of string or yarn, whatever you'd like to use, and we're going to attach our tassel. So let me go get that. I just chose this pretty purple ribbon. Got this at the local craft store. You can find these at Michael's, Joann's, all those places. This is just a very thin piece of ribbon. And what I like to do is I usually will create a loop. And this is just how I choose to do it. It's really up to you. But I like to create a loop and then I loop it through here so that I have more of a end. And honestly, if that's all you want to do, you can absolutely just do that and leave it as a ribbon. But because we have a tassel, we're going to attach that. So then what I like to do is I take my tassel, and I'm not great at tying bows and things. So I try to do this in a way that I don't have to tie like a bunch of bows and knots because it's just not a skill that I possess. So I like to wrap it twice around here just to make sure it's really secure. And then what I do is I tie the knot up here. So I wrapped it around twice so it was really secure. And then I'm just going to knot this. And I want to make sure that I double knot it just so it's really, really secure on here. You don't want this to come off. Oh, I missed part of the ribbon. Just pull that through. There we go. All right, then you can really just trim these off if you'd like to, or you can leave them. It's really up to you and how you want your bookmark to look. But this is just a really fun way that you can make a bookmark. I think I'm going to trim them down a little bit. They're a little bit long, so we'll go ahead and trim them off. And now you have this really pretty bookmark with a sparkly back and this fun name on the front. Super easy to do, really, really simple. This leather from Faux Leather for You is awesome. They have so many different patterns, so many different styles. There's a lot to choose from, and I think you guys will find something that really works for the style that you want to use. Here is the finished bookmark. This was really, really fun and really easy. As you could see, you can make your own shape and it's really simple to do. Then you can just add your own embellishments to really make it whatever you want it to be. There are so many amazing faux leather products at fauxleatherforyou.com that I highly recommend checking them out. They have a little bit of something for everybody. They even have double-sided faux leather. I liked this pattern, so I made my own by just adding some HTV to the back. But again, you guys can do whatever you want, and they're really, really fun. They make a great stocking stuffer or just a nice random gift any time of the year. If you have any questions, please let me know in those comments down below. I've linked everything we used down in the video's description, so be sure to check that out. Just hit the little arrow below the video. I hope you guys had so much fun, and as always, happy crafting!